I don't need to tell you who this is, or the impact he's had on the gaming industry. He's played poker, has a PhD in Russian literature, and even fought his old counterpart at some point. The adventures the Heavy has had could be a whole other video. He is the mascot of Team Fortress 2, and I will not hear any other disagreements. Don't even say Scout, alright? I don't care that Scout was named after Germa. Don't care.
You look like Freddy Fazbear.
So obviously with a cool character, people are going to make their own interpretations of him. And one of my favorites is Moments with Heavy by Kitty0706. If you've played Team Fortress 2, Half-Life, and Portal, aka the Orange Box, you've probably heard about or even played Garry's Mod. And if you don't know what that is, how? How is that even possible? There was so much that came out of this, and the side that affected me the most was the YouTube side. No, not Skibbity Toilet. We're talking about Vanoss Sandbox videos, and more importantly, Kitty0706, or his real name, Colin Wyckoff, or Wyckoff, a legend in the TF2 and Gmod community, and most well known for his Gmod source animation videos. You've probably seen most of these, like Team Fabulous 2, Elliot Goes to School, and Mass Defect. What? Oh yeah, it was during that time, huh? Sadly, he passed away in 2015 due to leukemia. A couple years later before, he was battling cancer, and even had news that he was cancer-free after a marrow transplant. Unfortunately, it came back, and you know the rest. Much like other creators who have passed away, his videos are still on YouTube and hopefully will be archived forever. Gmod and Valve in general was always something that I was into as a kid. I hadn't even played the games either at that time, but it still captured my attention. Only up until like recently, I've played most of them. Probably because I watched people play Turok as a kid, and looked it up on the internet and eventually found Half-Life 1. Anyway, the thing that I found most memorable about Colin's work is his series, Moments with Heavy. The thing that made this series so good was how he used the characters and mechanics in Team Fortress 2 to his advantage. I don't think I need to go that much into detail about the history of Team Fortress 2. It released in 2007, and just a year after, Garry's Mod did as well. And to this day, it still remains at the top of FPS games. However, move that shit aside, and focus on the animations that introduce the characters. These were great, and in my opinion, set motion to creating animations to introduce characters in video games in general. You know how many times I said in that sentence? That's how big of a deal it was. So many games followed this tradition to this day, and it's a genius way to get the players interested in new characters. Meet the Sniper made a random guy into a professional Australian assassin with family issues.
The difference being one has a job and the other's mental sickness.
And that's fucking genius. Turning these generic looking, well not really generic, but generic looking characters in a way into something to remember and relate to. The Meet the series still stands out as one of the best character introduction series in the gaming industry. And a big reason is because they aren't that long. Valve knew that they didn't need to stretch it out in order to make a character memorable. It's quick and straight to the point of how these characters operate.
Yo, what's up?
And even the longest one is still under 5 minutes. TF2 didn't need all this extra world building because at its core, it was just a multiplayer shooter, not a story-based game. Meanwhile, another game tried to do both and ended up failing. Seriously, Blizzard, just pull an Arcane. That's literally guaranteed success, if you do it right. Anyway, my point being is that these characters are extremely well made, so how does Colin make use of them? Okay, so let me just get this out of the way. This is like bottom of the barrel humor.
That actually is pretty funny.
Most of this is just dumb stuff equals funny, but there is somewhat of a story being told in these. The first in the series, and I guess you would call the pilot, being Jack Johnson Says Hi. This video is by far the shortest in the series and starts with Heavy typing random letters and numbers onto his computer. That is until he gets a voicemail.
This message is for
Heavy weapons guy.
This is
Jack Johnson.
I'm trying to leave you a message on your mailbox. You lying piece of shit. Fuck you and fuck Dennis and Paul and everybody else. You fucking piece of shit garbage, motherfuckers. Tell that to unemployment, motherfuckers.
After a very unhappy man calls, he then calls out to Scout and, just listen.
And I can't believe you fucking guys. You tell unemployment that I quit and the job was there when you guys discharged me and Dennis took my ID on the spot, took my uniform. They said, don't step back on the property or we'll arrest you. You lying motherfucker. I hope you get cancer and die, motherfucker. Alright? I picked on all you motherfuckers. Lying bastards. Hope you die, all of you.
So you might be asking, what the fuck was that? Well, for once, I actually have an answer. The voicemail is actually from an employee that was fired by his uncle. And he's pretty upset by it, even wishing cancer on them. Which, moving on. A lot of music in these videos are copyrighted, by the way, so I'm going to be putting in music that isn't, and sometimes the audio from, the one-liners that will be said will have to be cut out, sadly. I'll try to work my way around it, but all I know is that this is going to be a pain to edit. Anyway, this is really where the series starts to kick off. The video starts off with Colin's intro, which I thought was the coolest thing back in the day. It was so simple but unique at the time. An alarm clock goes off. And it's an unstoppable object. It then cuts to Heavy ordering something on Amazon, and wow! The first time I rewatched this, I almost mistook this as eBay. Anyway, he orders an Xbox, and by the way, I wouldn't be surprised if this was actually Colin recording his computer, with the fan audio in the background. The Heavy tries to type in his email, but runs into a problem.
Yet you are so small!
Literal fat fingers. So he calls for help and Sniper arrives and puts in the most 2009 email I've ever seen. After ordering, he gets a message and oh! A montage then plays and you can see a bunch of references like Gordon being chased by a combine and a lot of explosions. Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of these. After a while, the truck arrives and for some reason, Vin Diesel is driving it. I don't know why Vin Diesel shows up in so many of these old Gmod videos. Like even Vanoss had a Vin Diesel joke in multiple of his videos. And after throwing the package, okay then. However, after getting the package, the Heavy runs into a big problem. So he tries everything to open it. After he gets Scout to help him, but obviously it doesn't work, so Heavy just homelanders him. Then he goes to Soldier's room, who's playing copyrighted music, thank you for that, and just watch this scene.
Peel's here! Peels. No! No! What the hell, man? Ooh! Fuck is this shit?
What, you think I'm just gonna say, oh, Soldier hands pills to the Heavy, and then Lewis from Left 4 Dead comes and gets dragged and killed by Winnie the Pooh, and finally explodes right after. Well shit, I guess I did say that. Well, next we get to see Scout and Pyro play ping pong in a surprisingly well done sequence. Remember, this is using Gmod, like not SFM, the Gmod game itself. Heavy comes over to the Pyro for his help, and nope, even a flamethrower won't burn through it. The strongest thing on Earth. Amazon boxes.
This sucks.
Afterwards, the Heavy goes on to thank Pyro for his help in a very peaceful manner. Then we probably get to see the saddest scene ever, if this was the only piece of media you've ever watched. Because goddamn, Heavy is so loud. So loud, in fact, that the medic checks up on him, and Heavy's face beams up. Okay, how the fuck does this even happen?
That's how I lost my medical license.
The Heavy now has lost all hope. He'll never be able to play Uno on the Xbox. But in a twist, the spy shows up and does something incredible. Finally, after all that effort that Heavy had to go through, running around the house, abusing his roommates, he finally gets to play the Xbox, and then throws all the other trash consoles out of the way. The engineer turns on his Xbox, and Heavy goes on to play
The darkness.
probably the most random game to show up in the background footage. Ah, the Red Ring of Death. Always heard tales of it.
Help!
Anyway, that's the end, and honestly, it's alright, humor-wise. This would definitely make me laugh as a kid, but anything would make me laugh at that age. So now let's go over the criteria. Does it still hold up today, and how unique is it now? Honestly, the idea of the mercenaries being mermaids is pretty wholesome, even if Heavy abuses them from time to time. Though I do wish Heavy did more, as he's pretty much just running around the house and being a menace. The random gags weren't really hitting it for me as well, but still, I'd give it a 5 out of 10. Average. There were some moments I chuckled at, such as Medic cutting his arm off and passing out, as well as Heavy's fat fingers, but that's pretty much it. Alright, moving on. Starting off, it zooms out of a bowling place with the number 69 on top of it. The internet truly peaked, huh?
Where the fuck am I?
And the next scene shows Heavy decline bowling membership. Heavy then decides to play one game of bowling and is assigned to lane 9. And while he's walking there, and just throughout the whole video itself, there are so many old references. Shitty memes, the G-Man, and a major villain later on. Watching one of these videos is like going back in time. Even the video itself is locked at 480p. I definitely felt a lot of nostalgia watching these. After walking for a bit, Heavy spots his fellow mercenaries near his lane. It's Medic's turn, and Scout is of course booing him.
You are trying my patience.
You'll never hit me! You'll never hit my tiny...
This happens to hit the Heavy and breaks one of his fingers. Heavy is worried, and who wouldn't be, so he calls out to the medic and shows him his broken finger.
Spy!
Yeah, I don't think that's gonna go well. So instead, Heavy pulls a Far Cry 2 and snaps his finger back in place. American doctors hate this man. And then a montage starts of Heavy trying to bowl. He's new to this, so he ends up peeking at Scout's form. However, this doesn't work well. Scout then pulls off the most, unique shot I've ever seen. Dr. Bree makes a cameo with the signature
Suck.
In fact, he goes on a rampage. If you don't know, then this Dr. Bree from Half-Life 2 is from the Gmod Idiot Box, a series that predates this one and was made by Das Bullshit. Also a legend in the community, and Colin even commented on one of his videos before. If you've grown up with these type of videos, then you've definitely heard this phrase, and I've probably triggered some nostalgia nerves in your brain, which I don't know if I'm comfortable with that. Anyway, Scout ends up in the bowling lane, and Medic accidentally hits him in the face. Then the Heavy, for some reason, tries to mimic him? Doesn't this dude have a PhD in Russian literature? After whatever that was happens, a familiar rival shows up to taunt him.
Oh, that slaps me on the knee. You, yes, you are dead.
The Blue Heavy then calls Red Heavy's team a bunch of babies, and oh my god, they actually are a bunch of babies. This taunt seems to work, and they both decide to have the greatest bowling match in history. Blue Heavy starts off with the support of his roommates. He then uses his finger gun, which I still don't know how that works. Not bad, with only 2 pins remaining. Blue Heavy then pulls off a surprisingly smart move and knocks 1 pin into the other. An impressive start, as Red Heavy just punches the ball into the pins, which doesn't work well. And then we cut to Nico and his cousin Roman, who also happen to be there. If you don't know who these guys are, they're from GTA 4, and if you don't know that, then you're a fucking bitch. A montage then starts again of the 2 heavies battling with copyrighted music over it. Thank you for that. With Blue Heavy taking the lead, while Red Heavy gets... How the fuck did he even get that? A break then happens with Red Heavy ordering a classic sandvich until...
Thank you.
Pills! 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 Pills!
Lewis.
Pills! Pills! Pills!
Good thing I'm indestructible.
That's twice that Lewis has been fucked over now. We cut back to the Heavy playing Wii. Yeah, why am I not surprised? Returning from the break, we come back to see the duel between the 2 heavies. Blue Heavy gets a helpful strike from Dr. Bree, which is pretty ironic now that I think about it. Red Heavy gets his turn next, but is interrupted by Francis driving over the... Why the fuck is he allowed to do this? He stops before hitting the pins, but slowly gets closer to them. However, in anger, Red Heavy throws the ball at him, and...
Good thing I'm indestructible.
During Blue Heavy's turn, Red Heavy decides to call someone for help. Is that fucking Sam Fisher? Sam Fisher, the famous operator from Rainbow Six Siege, attempts to push a pin over, but...
What the fuck?
That's some
This gives Red Heavy a free strike, and now I'm starting to think you can just do whatever you want in this bowling alley. When Blue Heavy gets his turn again, Red Heavy attempts to stop this by placing his body on the lane. Yeah, I didn't see that coming. But did you see this coming? Blue Heavy gets a pretty overwhelming victory, oh my god. Red Heavy is obviously pissed off about this and attempts to kill him but misses and is disqualified. So all this other shit is allowed, but you can't kill the opponent. Also, this happens.
Hey Fagala, where's your retarded Lucario costume? Huh? Huh?
Excuse me, ass munch. I didn't know jackasses were allowed in the bowling alley. Security.
After that happens, remember this was in 2009, Blue Heavy gets his reward and celebrates. With copyrighted music, thank you for that. Alright, let's talk about this. This is a major step up compared to the last one, and actually had me laughing for some of the gags. When Lewis appeared, I honestly rolled my eyes and thought, wow, Lewis going for pills again. However, Colin managed to surprise me, but make it funny as well. This is the prime example of a good Moments with Heavy episode. I'd give it a 9 out of 10 on the scale. Will the series improve, or will it slowly dip in quality? We start off at the DMV, where all of Red Team and Blue Heavy are waiting. Probably for the test, and to pass the time, Heavy watches a commercial on the TV.
Does your cat make too much noise?
No! Yes!
Try kitten mittens.
Oh, that slaps me on the knee.
This surprisingly isn't a real commercial, and is actually a scene from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Why the fuck is he here again? Vin Diesel then passes out the test in the gentle manner.
Go home and die.
Heavy, despite having a PhD in Russian literature, is really dumb and fills out all the wrong answers. And Red Spy for some reason tries to copy him.
Spy!
However, thankfully, there's an extra credit question, which is guessing what song Scout is listening to. Spoiler alert, it's Chelsea Smile by Bring Me the Horizon. Not sure if this is copyright free, by the way, so instead enjoyed Elfell's theme. Hate the character, but her theme is really good, like honestly. I didn't like the first time, but as soon as I got like used to the metal singing, god damn does it slap. And the results are in, with all questions wrong except for the extra credit question. For some reason, Heavy knows Chelsea Smiles. Why? So he managed to pass with zero knowledge of driving. Well kids, screw studying, just listen to music. Heavy goes on to show off his score and begins emoting on everyone. After 3 months, he gets his license, that's already expired apparently. He goes on to show it to his friends who all celebrate together, but then... Red Team barges through to show the Heavy that they're going to take the road test. Probably to prove him wrong from his earlier taunt, which was 3 months ago by the way. So it begins with Blue Scout as the one to oversee the tests. First up is Medic. Now being a doctor, he should be the first to care about safety. Next up is Scout, and it seems to be normal at first, until...
You morons are about to catch a real beat. Look at you! You look like you ran through traffic!
Up next is Red Heavy, and he already has some trouble. These guys are like D-Class from SCP. He then drives towards a train and uh-oh. At least he looks happy. Okay, you might have noticed a trend, and we'll talk about that at the end of this segment. Next is Sniper, and oh shit, he's back. Oh shit, he's back?
Thanks, mate. No problem.
Sniper then proceeds to drag Scout from the car, go up to a high point, and then try to kill Scout. Why? I don't know. But Blue Spy managed to survive and stab him.
You got blood on my suit.
Die.
Holy dooly!
Die.
What the hell was that crap?
Then we have Engineer, and of course the man starts tinkering. The car now having a computer and keyboard programmed into it. It's now an autopilot, and now Engineer is now canonically Elon Musk. An NPC actually acts smart for once, and the car starts heading towards the train, nearly hitting it until it starts malfunctioning, and... Next is Pyro, who just air blasts his way through. You know how pissed soldier players would be if Pyro can air blast jump? However, he ironically lands in some fire, and the car blows up. After Pyro is Spy, who has an interesting start, turning his car invisible, and then, you know what happens.
What about my kids?
After murdering an innocent bystander, Spy actually waits for the train to pass. Afterwards, he just smoothly passes through the course and makes it to the end.
Freedom!
Gentlemen?
Up next is Devilman, and he's already started drinking. Well, I think we know what's gonna happen next. And there's a sticky bomb in the trap? Oh, it's fucking over. What? Ah, there we go. And last but not least, the soldier. Come on. We already know what this guy's gonna do. He's gonna pull off the sickest rocket jump you've ever seen. And the results are in.
You failed!
Wow, who would have thought? Honestly, Spy might have actually passed the test if he didn't, you know. Anyway, that was Heavy Takes his driving test. A surprising format, with the episode actually focusing more on the whole of Red Team instead of Blue Heavy. Red Team is pretty much the equivalent to those old-fashioned villains who just get fucked over throughout the show. They're like bullies, but mercenaries instead, so they have the obligation to kill people. Okay, so what are my thoughts? While I do like how Red Team is given an episode about themselves, the humor itself seems to rely more on random explosions quite often. Bowling with Heavy had random shit thrown in, but it was pretty diverse, and that's what made it funny. I did laugh a fair bit at some of the gags, but the random explosions definitely hold it back. Especially this one. I'm not even sure what this was supposed to be. On a positive note, I really loved how each of the mercenaries' kits were used. The only one that doesn't make much sense is Sniper. Like, what is going on here? Seriously. Overall, to me it's not better than the last one, but I do think it's at least better than the Xbox episode. So I'll give it a 7 out of 10. Will it continue to drop, or will it find its footing once again? This one is actually pretty short, being the third shortest in under 5 minutes. And just in time for the holidays, we have a Christmas special. Hey, shut up. On the night before Christmas, Scout decides what they're going to have at the feast, and this is while playing Animal Crossing. He checks on the Heavy to see what he's up to, and...
Hey, knucklehead!
So he tries everything to wake him up.
Sandvich. Ah!
Scout chucks it out of a window, and a pigeon comes over to steal it. Heavy tries to stop this, but this bird is fucking strapped.
Oh, really, son?
And then Scout sends Heavy to get pancakes. For some reason, he only gives him $1, by the way. Either the economy is extremely low, or these are going to be the most dogshit pancakes ever made. Probably made out of dog shit. And Heavy, with his expired license, sets off. Heavy arrives at Walmart, and damn, the references. We got the cake from Portal, core from Portal, and of course, random floating head, though Heavy finally catches his eye on it. Scout's pancake mix. And they must be popular because there's only one left. But as soon as he tries to grab it, Jim fucking Carrey nabs it first.
No, 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 this can't happen!
You know it's him because it literally says it. It's crazy how there's a Vin Diesel model, but there wasn't a Jim Carrey one. And so they probably have the best chase scene I've ever seen.
Take care now, bye-bye then.
After that sick flip that was very necessary, Jim looks back to see no one there. but that moment of silence is only a second as Heavy jumps over the aisle to body slam him. Heavy struggles to get the pancakes while Jim just laughs at him. After Jim kicks Heavy off of him, he tries to rush out of the door, but the security in the store is surprisingly good and doesn't let him out. Seeing an opportunity, Heavy rushes and pins him against the wall, though they look really suspicious right now, though Jim just slaps the shit out of him and sends him flying. It is now confirmed that Jim Carrey is one of the strongest characters in this verse. Jim Carrey solos reverse. Jim rushes towards the register with very suspicious fan art in the background. Heavy quickly arrives, but is too late. Jim hands the money over, and the deal is done. But Jim, noticing Heavy is sad, decides to be the better man and hand him the pancake mix. What a legend. He then destroys the suspicious vending machine and pulls out a jar of pickles, or whatever that is. Cum jar. Why did I write that? But Jim is stopped by Combine police for vandalizing property and stealing. And he dies. However, Heavy got his pancake mix and returns home to have a Christmas feast with the boys. And once again, I'm not sure if the music at the end is copyright free, so enjoy whatever I'm playing. Thank you for that. And I'll just copy and paste whatever these pigeons are saying.
Have you heard of a thing called high def? Certain video games look awesome in 720l. A street crimes is fucking sick.
Damn, I want a girl with a big ol' ass, yo.
Holy shit! They're going to bet at what's left of you in a soup can!
That was the Christmas special, and it was good. Jim carries the episode hard, but is that really surprising? And the beginning segment, while amusing, didn't really hit that much. Heavy killing that one guy was pretty funny though. Overall, I'd give the same score as the last one. And if you disagree with that, then fuck you, make your own list. Alright, I'm really excited for this next one. And if you haven't seen this one before, or haven't watched it in a long time, watch this one. Our first scene is a storefront. Next, we get a shot of a sandwich box. However, someone is lurking around. Red Spy then proceeds to put a bomb inside the sandwich, which is Ubered for some reason. The Heavy update that will never happen. Afterwards, our Heavy parks by and quickly orders the sandwich, and then we segue into the blue team having a picnic. Heavy offers a sandwich, but the medic smells the bomb, or it just smells terrible, but either way, he throws it away. Heavy, however, catches his eye on the sandwich being Ubered, so he quickly retrieves it, but it's robbed right from him.
Today ain't your day, pancakes. Nice hustle, tons of fun. Next time, eat a salad.
Ha ha ha!
Left with no options, Heavy spots a wheelchair and decides to hit it. Hey, wait a minute. And once they come out, Scout's ragdoll physics hit the curb, and he ends up biking off the street and into America's cleanest drinking water. Heavy seeing this, parks near the sandwich and attempts to eat it until...
Holy dooly!
Also, a Counter-Strike match is apparently happening. And Heavy is thinking that the other player shot his sandwich, so he fires back.
Boo!
The biggest menace has returned once more to fuck with everyone. And I mean everyone. Heavy finds his sandwich in the middle of the road. Don't ask how it got there. He desperately rushes over, and right when he reaches it...
Excuse me! Oh no! Sandvich! Sandvich!
He searches all day, and right when he's at his lowest, it appears again.
No! Нет!
However, the room seems to have a bit of security. I just want to say this real quick. This next sequence is actually really impressive, at a technical level. Like, I can only imagine how long this took. As Heavy cleanly gets through the lasers, Francis shows up again and fucks over the Heavy once more.
Pow!
He barges through the door and notices Red Engineer has his sandwich. Engineer teleports his security in, but they get stomped immediately.
Darn. No!
And now he meets Red Pyro face to face. This is twice that Fire has screwed over Pyro. You know, the Fire character. The sandwich teleports away as well, but Heavy follows it again. However, it doesn't seem like Pyro is down for the count.
Tag, you're in.
I told you he was a menace. Heavy arrives at his destination, but his sandwich seems to be in a sticky situation.
I can't hold them off alone here!
Heavy tries to bribe him, but Demo doesn't budge. So instead, Heavy comes up with a better idea. He comes back to see Demo watching Uncharted 2 Among Thieves, all cutscenes, and hands him a drink. Heavy then gleefully runs away with the sandwich finally in his hands.
Boo!
Francis, however, isn't safe either, as he's shot by the red sniper, but he misses like twice, and Francis proceeds to flick a bullet into some explosive barrels. This guy can shoot a sandwich out of someone's hand, but can't shoot a stationary target twice.
It's challenging work.
Looks like Dory has some competition. Heavy then wakes up to see Red Soldier hovering with the box, who then flies away. Heavy of course isn't letting this slide and manages to find a car in the tunnels. Heavy chases Soldier throughout the city and ends up at a tall building, quickly makes his way up and has a showdown with the Soldier.
Oops, sorry.
Tricked but still not giving up, he chases the sandwich.
Woo! Bumper cars.
He ends up in a white room, and across is Red Heavy holding his fist up. It's about to go down. Heavy sadly loses, but thankfully Medic is here for some reason. Blue Heavy gets Ubered, and well...
I should have done this long ago!
Heavy tries to get the sandwich, but the case seems to be locked. And the one who has the key, Francis.
Someone's on the 50 cal.
You! Yes, you! You are dead!
Ammo! Ammo! Why does God punish me? I eat pain. Boo!
That's a random crit bullet, by the way. This dude is a beast. And their final destination, a large platform and 2 bumper cars. Francis fucking destroys him, but Heavy manages to come back and lifts the bumper car and himself and slams it into Francis, spitting out a key, and finally, the sandwich is unlocked and eaten.
Oh no!
Hi, it's Vince with Sham Wow. You'll be saying wow every time you use this towel.
Bad.
It's like a chamois. It's like
Prepare for your examination.
This is by far my favorite episode so far, and easily made me laugh way more as well. The visual gags, the random shit actually being unique, unlike the driving test one. Also, Francis just fucking with anyone he sees. This is a perfect video, and fully embodies moments with Heavy for me. And it didn't have that much copyrighted music too. 10 out of 10. It's gonna be hard to beat this, and I don't think it will be. Okay, so first off, I had to change the title because, you know. Second off, this episode is chaotic. That's the best way I can describe it. I know how the other episodes are chaotic as well, but this one is just like on a whole other level. To a point where I don't even know if I could describe it in a way. Which is why I don't think I can be able to like make an entire section for this. It's really a video that you have to watch for yourself. Every second there is something happening, and it's honestly just wild to describe.
Ezio! Ezio,
Fatality. What the fuck?
Like one scene where Ellis swallows Viagra pills and he gets like giant steel balls, and then he proceeds to kill a bunch of zombies with them. He also talks like Duke Nukem.
And I'm all out of kick ass.
That is a legitimate scene. There's just so much to like talk about in this. I honestly don't think I would be able to summarize it that well. The whole time I was just wondering, what the fuck is going on? There isn't really a plot point in this one as well, unlike the other ones. I mean, the most you get is just Heavy gets Left 4 Dead 2, gets sucked into it, and with his partner Ellis, they try to survive the mess they're in. There's also a side plot of Chuck Green and Frank West from Dead Rising, and they also just cause chaos on their end. I honestly don't think I would be able to do this episode justice because of how much is in it. It's also pretty funny, to be honest. In a good and bad way. Okay, so if you're tired of the whole like pee-pee poo-poo humor, you're really gonna hate in this one. One, characters are constantly making fart noises, which if you still laugh at, that's fine, but you know, I can easily see how you hate it. But it's also Colin's best episode at a technical standpoint, as it's not just using Gmod physics anymore, it's using VFX. Of course it looks really scuffed, but it's a massive step up compared to the other ones. Also, I can't lie, I was getting really tired of the whole pee-pee poo-poo humor. Listen man, like I can enjoy it as much as I want, and it is pretty funny, but there is a line, and I'm starting to cross that line.
Uh-oh. What did you say? What did you say to me?
It's also the longest episode in the series, with over 14 minutes. And to be honest, that's a little bit too long for me. Like, the last one was barely over 10 minutes, just a second, and that was really just, like, the perfect. It was a perfect length, it was able to do everything it wanted to, and it made me laugh a lot. I was not tired of it at all. But this one I was really struggling with. So basically what I'm trying to say is just watch the episode, and you can have your own thoughts on it. I like it, but not that much. I like randomness, but when it happens too much or it doesn't really, you know, flow with everything together, I don't really like it that much. And this episode had a lot of that. Though it would be funny for me to explain it, like saying that the Resistance members from Half-Life 2 dresses up as Renamon, you know, the one from Digimon, and then he goes on to try and distract Marcus Phoenix from Gears of War, who just chainsaws him afterwards. Stuff like that would be amusing to hear, but it would be better just to see it. In fact, that goes for all the episodes. But for me, this is the one that probably benefits the most from looking at it first glance. After a lot of thinking about this, and originally it was at a 9, but I really thought about all the faults I had with this, I'm gonna have to give this episode 7. It was almost a 6, but honestly the good moments really outweigh the bad moments. But still, the bad moments are there, and you know, it's hard to just brush that aside. I still like the quest for the ultimate sandwich better, I still like Heavy Goes to Bowling better, and in some ways as well, I prefer it over Heavy Gets His Driving License. Though I can't disregard all the effort that was put into this. It was genuinely, impressive. Once again, not anything too crazy, but remember, this was in 2010. Now we move on to the final episode in the series. It's also the second shortest one, so let's hope it ends on a bang. That's it. That's the title. No crazy final adventure, just a classic French toast recipe. However, most of the video has copyrighted music, so sadly most of the sound effects will have to be muted. So we start off with the narrator asking if we like French toast.
French toast?
No!
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought this was Moments with Heavy, not Moments with some dumbass who ruined the show.
Scout gets fucking roasted and Heavy slams into the frame. The narrator then asks Heavy for a recipe, and apparently he doesn't have one, but he's very protective of it.
That's not a good work attitude.
No wonder he didn't want anyone to see it. Heavy then brings out a bowl. Wrong bowl. Heavy then brings out a bowl, and is asked to have milk. Sadly he doesn't have it, but he goes to Spy's house and politely asks for some milk. What?
Yes!
After obtaining the milk with no casualties, he returns to add the milk into the bowl. Afterwards, he adds some cinnamon, 2 eggs, and then mixes it. The narrator then leaves for a bit to get lemon or something. After returning, the narrator asks Heavy how the mixture turned out.
That's impossible. A mixture of ingredients do not own the proper attributes to be mentally impaired. Dumbass.
Fucking hell, dude. It's time to finally cook, and Scout shows up, but he's not important. The narrator goes on to tell Heavy to be careful with the pan since it's hot, and then Heavy then coats the bread in the mixture and then places them into the pan. Heavy tries to flip it with his hands like a dumbass, but he's corrected and uses a spatula that's a pizza paddle. Also, side note, apparently these things are called peels, but that sounds stupid, so I'm sticking with paddle. After flipping and waiting for the toast to finish, Heavy has officially cooked French toast. Topping it off with sugar, which oddly looks like Heavy is then praised for his valiant efforts and is told that he'll eventually make his way up and serve at high dining restaurants. To which the lights go out and
Ah, this is bad! Scout!
You got owned!
A soiled diaper.
Oh yeah, apparently this was a Halloween special. So that was the final episode in the series, before Colin passed away. And honestly, it's pretty enjoyable. It's not my favorite, but it's also not a bad way to end the series. Due to the video having mostly copyrighted music playing, I wasn't really able to play the gags featured in it, and I honestly think all of them are great. There really wasn't anything missed, everything fit together perfectly. And the narrator makes the episode even funnier, which I actually think is a self-insert of Colin. Overall, I think it actually stands above other episodes like Heavy Gets His Driving License or Heavy Has His Christmas Feast. And the only thing restricting the score from getting higher is the time and the plot of the episode. I think this episode just proves that you don't need to have random shit all the time to make something funny. Unlike the other episodes, I think this one stands out as the best in terms of humor nowadays. Because while random explosions and fart noises can be funny at first, unless you're a kid, it can get stale pretty fast. So for that, I'm giving this an 8 out of 10. I think it stands above most of the episodes, but also doesn't reach the best ones as well. It's a great episode and honestly surprised me the most out of all of them. Good job, Colin. Well, that was fun, wasn't it? This man was my and a lot of people's childhoods, and it's great that most of the episodes still stand up to this day. As many of the comments have said multiple times, Colin really was ahead of his time. Nowadays, you got Skibbity Toilet, which seems interesting at least. Look, even MadPat made a video on it.
It's just a theory. A game theory. Thank you.
But it doesn't have the charm that stuff like this had. I don't hate the Skibbity series, and while I don't like extremely short content like TikTok, it at least does have some kind of story happening. And from what I've seen, actually has some cool fight scenes. It's literally toilet humor, but also giant mech fights thrown in. While I might have liked this as a kid, I don't think it would have topped Colin's work. This is great, but I like this better. There's also the aspect that the video format is extremely short and short in attention spans, but that's a whole other can of worms that I don't want to get into. Basically, Kitty0706 is still enjoyable to this day, and I want people to honor that. And while I don't like how hard he made to edit this, I still had a great time rewatching these. I really hope YouTube never takes this type of content down, even if the titles were iffy back then. Also, to the 2% of people complaining about this stuff. This was like late 2000s, and humor back then was way different compared to what is now. I'm not condoning this type of behavior nowadays, of course. The internet was a toxic cesspool back then. Even more than now, believe it or not. A lot of your favorite content creators back then probably had this type of humor before, but they grew up. Unless it's Vanoss.
And I don't regret a second of it.
That will be all from me though. I just want to say thank you for 450 subs. Honestly, I did not think we would be near 500 this soon. Feel free to leave a comment, by the way. I'll do my best to look at each one and reply as well. One of my next videos will be in long format, by the way, so if nothing comes out in 2 months again, then you'll know why. If you're new here and don't have TikTok attention span, then please check out my other 2 videos on Dredge and One Step from Eden. They are over an hour long, by the way, so brace yourselves. There's also a Smite video that I made, and that'll be all from me. Okay, listen. We don't have to end on an explosion this time.